Welcome to RGES Algebra 1, Lesson 18A, Part 2. So we're continuing on here. We needed a second installment to finish the ideas. Now on 7.7, this is actually really, there's no new skill here, but there is a new idea. So let's talk about the idea first. Okay. Graphically, if I have the x-axis and the y-axis, and I have two lines. Let's draw a line in red here, and a second line, and of course I should have arrows on that, in blue here. Wherever those two cross, or intersect, wherever those two lines intersect, that represents the solution, quote unquote, the solution. That means that point will be true if I plug it into the equation represented by the red line, and if I plug that same point into the equation represented by the blue line, both statements would be true. In other words, we have an equation associated with this line, and we have an equation associated with this line. And this point here, my blue-red point, will be true for both this equation and this equation. Now that's the main idea. Now, what he wants you to do in this section is to go ahead and graph. So this will be, the graphing we know how to do already. You can graph by, another review idea, I can graph by making a table, graph a line. By making a table of values, I can graph by knowing 2 points. I can graph by knowing a point and a slope. Okay. I can graph by knowing a very special kind of point, the y-intercept and slope, which is a special form of 3, a point and a slope, or I could graph by both intercepts, knowing the x-intercept and the y-intercept, which is a special form of 2 points. Now, right now, he wants you to graph, because it really is very simple to do this, graph by the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So let's review how you do that. If you have, let me give you an equation. Let's say I have the equation x plus 2y equals 4. The x-intercept would be found by taking the numerical value before the x and if it's in this form, and having dividing the number on the right side. If I just have the form x's and y's on the left side, dividing by the number on the right side, so 4 divided by 1 is 4, so my x-intercept is 4. My y-intercept is found by taking the numerical value before the y and dividing my number by that, the number on the right side of the equation. So the y equals 2. So I would simply, on the x-axis, and really what I mean here is that my point is 4, 0, my first point, and my second point is 0, 2, right? So on the x-axis, I would go over to 4, there's a point. On my y-axis, I would go up to 2, there's my second point, and a line is defined by 2 points, and there's my line. Let's look at another one. Another example here. If I had a 4x minus 5y equals negative 20. Should be a 20. To find my x, I'd divide the number on the right, this number here, by 4. So my x is negative 5. To find my y, I would divide the number on the right by negative 5. So that'd be negative divided by negative is positive. 20 divided by 5 is 4. To graph it, I simply, on the x-axis, would go to negative 5. On the y-axis, to go to 4. Now, if I had graphed these two, what he wants you to do, he's going to give you two equations for every problem. You're going to graph one line, then graph the other line, and then identify, read off the point of intersection. So it would be very, very helpful to have graph paper for this. So I'm going to do one example of that, and I think that's really all you need here. Okay, for my first line, my x, I do not need to divide, so it would be negative 10. My y, that's a 10. My y would be divide by negative 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Negative divided by negative is positive. And if I were graphing that, my x would be like negative 10, and my y would be 5, and my line would look something like that. Very, very rough. That's line 1. Let's go and look at line 2. This is why I want you to have graph paper, by the way. Okay, my x is going to be divide by 4. My y is going to be divide by 3. It's crossing the x-axis at, let's say, what was that, negative 10. I'm going to say 6 is about right there. That was 5. Y is about right there. There's my second line, line 2. And this is what I'm trying to identify, this point of intersection. So now you can sure see why I would want graph paper, because doing this very rough like I'm doing it, I'm going to guess that's something like 2, 6. But I have no idea really, okay, because this is so rough. So that's what you're going to do, though, is do it on graph paper, use a ruler, and read it off more carefully. Okay, so that's all you need to do for 1 through 9 odd. Now it says 11. It says surprising. Okay, I'm going to let you look at that and bring any questions you might have to class. Okay, have a wonderful day.